Have you ever felt like you were living in a war zone, but the battle lines were drawn right in your own neighborhood? That's exactly what it was like for Mike and his family when they moved into their new home. It was a place divided, a constant clash between the old residents and the newcomers. The air was thick with tension, and you could hear arguments echoing down the street almost every day. It wasn't just noise. It was a palpable feeling of being unwelcome, of being hated, simply for being new. Mike's family felt it keenly. They'd hoped for a peaceful community, a place to put down roots, but instead they found themselves on one side of an invisible but very real fence. Every day felt like walking on eggshells, wondering what would set off the next confrontation. The dream of a friendly neighborhood had quickly turned into a stressful, isolating reality. It seemed like there was no common ground, just a growing chasm of resentment that was pushing everyone further and further apart. The conflicts were petty but relentless. It was a constant barrage of complaints. The music was too loud. The kids were making too much noise playing outside. Someone parked their car a few inches over the line. A recycling bin was left out for an hour too long. It was death by 1,000 paper cuts. These small disagreements piled up, fueling the fire of animosity until it felt like a full-blown feud. And Mike, he was getting swept up in it too. The initial hope he had for building bridges was eroding, replaced by anger and frustration. He started seeing his neighbors not as people, but as adversaries. He found himself getting defensive, ready to argue back, ready to point fingers. The constant negativity was changing him, and he didn't like it. He was becoming just as bitter as everyone else. One evening, after another tense exchange over a parking spot, Mike sat down, his heart heavy with anger. He felt lost. This wasn't the life he wanted for his family. He opened his Bible, searching for some kind of guidance, some kind of peace. His eyes fell on a familiar passage, one that says God's love is for everyone, but he doesn't play favorites. It hit him like a ton of bricks. If God could love the entire world with all its flaws and divisions, who is Mike to harbor so much anger toward the people living just a few feet away? He realized he was part of the problem. His anger was just another brick in the wall dividing them all. That night, something shifted in Mike's heart. He knelt down and prayed, not for his neighbors to change, but for himself. "Lord," he whispered, "this is hard. I'm angry. But your word says to love our enemies and pray for those who persecute us. Please, help me. Help us to love them. Show me what to do." An idea so simple yet so radical began to form in his mind. What if, instead of fighting fire with fire, he tried to douse the flames with kindness? The idea was a barbecue. A big, free, no-strings-attached barbecue for the entire neighborhood. He would invite everyone, especially the ones who had complained the most, the ones who seemed to dislike his family the most intensely. His wife thought he was a little crazy at first. Invite the people who yell at us over to our house for a free meal? But as Mike explained his change of heart, she saw the sincerity in his eyes. They decided to do it. They printed simple, friendly invitations and went door to door, personally handing them out. Some neighbors looked surprised, others suspicious, but they took the flyers. The invitation was clear. Come as you are. The food is on us. Let's just be neighbors. The day of the barbecue arrived, and the atmosphere was, to put it mildly, awkward. A few people showed up early, standing stiffly on the lawn, not quite sure what to do or say. The old residents clustered on one side, the new families on the other, just like always. It felt like a middle school dance where no one wanted to be the first one on the floor. Mike and his family moved through the crowd, offering burgers, hot dogs, and a warm smile to everyone. They made a point to spend extra time with the neighbors who had been the most hostile. Slowly, something began to change. Maybe it was the smell of grilled food, or maybe it was just the simple act of sharing a meal together. A brave soul from the old guard, a man named Mr. Henderson, who had been the most vocal critic, tasted a piece of grilled chicken and declared it was the best he'd had in years. That small comment broke the ice. Soon, people started talking. Not about parking or noise, but about their kids, their jobs, their gardens. Stories were shared. A woman who had always seemed stern revealed she was a passionate birdwatcher. A man who always scowled was a huge fan of the same baseball team as Mike. Laughter, real genuine laughter, started to bubble up and fill the backyard. The invisible walls that had divided them for so long began to crumble, one shared story, one shared laugh at a time. It was amazing to watch. People who had been yelling at each other just weeks before were now sharing plates and discovering common ground. That barbecue wasn't just a one-time event. It was a turning point. It was the beginning of a true community. The awkwardness was replaced by familiarity. The suspicion was replaced by trust. People started waving to each other on the street. Mr. Henderson, the former chief complainer, started bringing over tomatoes from his garden for Mike's family. When another family's car broke down, 3 neighbors were there in an instant to help push it out of the street. They organized a neighborhood watch not to spy on each other, but to look out for each other. Kids who were once told to play quietly were now having huge games of tag that spanned across multiple yards, with parents cheering them on. They started helping each other with yard work, sharing tools, and bringing over meals when someone was sick. The neighborhood was transformed. It wasn't a place of division anymore. It was a place of support, of friendship. It had become a home not just for Mike's family, but for everyone. All it took was one family stepping out in faith, choosing love over anger, and firing up a grill. This story is such a powerful reminder for all of us. We all have enemies or people in our lives who are difficult to love. It could be a coworker, a family member, or even a neighbor. It's so easy to get caught up in the cycle of anger and resentment. But what if we chose a different path? What if we chose to be the one to extend the olive branch? God's love isn't meant to be kept to ourselves. It's a powerful force that can cross any divide and heal any relationship. Just like Mike, we can ask God to help us love the people we find it hard to love. A simple act of kindness, like sharing a meal, can be the catalyst that turns enemies into friends and a divided group into a united community. It's a choice we can all make. Let's choose kindness. Let's choose to build bridges. Because when we lead with love, we create a space where hope can grow for everyone. Thanks for watching. If this story touched you, please like and subscribe for more inspiring content. See you next time.